much for joining us again. We only have a couple more days of our book. And today we are going to hear the story from the dog. So let's see what his take is on what happened. Thank you so much for joining us, and go Hawks! Cuddles, the principal's dog.
Master lives right next door to the school he owns, so I got to see him a lot. Sometimes he brings me to meet the children there. This would be a perfect place to live, except for that nasty squirrel Twitch. Twitch acts like he owns the yard. He eats the seeds Master puts out for the birds. He jumps from the tree to tree just out of reach and calls down for the people that like the squirrels better than they like the dogs. He says that's why his master ties me to a long rope leash when I'm in the yard. He says that's why master puts me on the short chain leash when we go for a walk.
No leash for me. Nuh-uh.
Twitch brags. He runs back and forth just beyond where the leash stretches to. He says,
Ha ha. Your master doesn't make me wear a collar and leash to keep me in one place. He must not trust you, Cuddles.
Twitch seems to wait for me to be watching before he climbs the garbage can at the edge of the playground.
Oh, Cuddles.
He'll say,
There's wonderful tasty garbage in here today. Here's a French fry and half a bologna sandwich and some macaroni and cheese. I can't remember. Do you like macaroni and cheese, Cuddles?
I stand there drooling, knowing I can't cross the short distance to get into the delightful-sounding garbage can. Sometimes the only way to avoid Twitch is to go to sleep. That's what I'm doing when Twitch ran over my nose. Yow! That hurt. I just knew he did it on purpose, and I went running after him. I was so mad, I ran so fast that the rope leash broke. I kept on running, pulling that long rope with me. An owl was chasing Twitch, too. I don't know what Twitch did to get her mad, but I saw Twitch. He was heading for the school. The man who works for Master cleaning and repairing the building had hung a big banner over the door that said, "Welcome," because Master had invited special guests to come the next day. The man had left the door open while he was putting up his ladder back in his truck. "Don't you dare go into Master's school!" I shouted to Twitch. Guess what? He ignored me. In he went, as though he owned the place, just the way he acts when he owns the yard. The owl knew school was off limits. "Hoo, he's all yours," she said, winging all the way. I was in the right, but the trouble was all the pets took Twitch's side. From room to room, I went, chasing Twitch. A few things got knocked down, or spilled, or broken, but it was all Twitch's fault. Those pets all work together, even animals that shouldn't work together. Finally, they knocked a big box on top of me. It was dark in there. I was sure that if the snake had been trapped inside with me or not, because pine shavings kind of smell like him. He didn't look like he was the kind of snake who bites, but you can't trust snakes. I hunkered down and sat quiet. I could hear the pets laughing out in the hall and having a good time together. It was like a party. The squirrel was telling jokes, mostly to do with me. The hamster and a parrot were telling everyone about how their names came from books. And they were all acting like that was a big deal. And the rabbit was saying they needed to get together more often. And they just had figured out to gather the squirrel to join them too. And she asked the rat, if he could join and open all the cages again the next day. And the rat said yes, in between carrying on about something to do with Cinderella. And the turtle said that they could all work on a heart project together. And the geckos were saying that they knew how to make everything work in a volcano. And everyone want to see? Even the fish were saying something, I don't know what, but it was bubbly for me to understand. I wasn't healing a snake, which is part of the reason I suspected he was under the box with me. But I had just decided I needed to get out from under there, snake or no snake, when suddenly there were sirens. The people came rushing in, shouting, "This is the police!" I heard the pets scatter, and then someone lifted a box off of me. No snake, but I saw something worse. The person who lifted the box was Master. "Cuddles? Cuddles, what have you done?" he asked. "Bad dog, bad dog." I tried to tell him about the squirrel and about what the pets were planning, but Master has trouble understanding more than the simplest things I say. He usually gets, "I'm hungry and I want to play, and I gotta poop or pee." But that's about it. He obviously had no idea what I was saying there in the school. He had just taken hold of my collar when the people came running into the room. Some of them had black hats, some in shiny badges, and some had red helmets and boots and a hose. "Is there a thief?" shouted one of the men. "Is there a disorderly conduct?" shouted another man. "Is there fire in the walls?" shouted a third. And the fourth asks, "Do you need us to knock a hole in a wall?" He raised a sharp axe. "No!" Master cried. "No, no, no!" He sounded upset. Upset means danger. Any dog knows that. I lunged forward and barked at the man with the axe and said, "Bark, bark, bark." Master held on my collar. "Cuddles," he ordered, "sit." I sat because that's what well-behaved dogs do. I kept on growling to warn the men that he'd better be on his best behavior too. Well, the man with the axe backed up so quickly, he knocked into the man with the hose. And the man with the hose backed up so quickly, he tipped over the box that was covered me. He fell and must be done something to the hose because suddenly water shot out of it. Whoosh! The water hit Master so hard, it knocked him down on his bottom. "Stop!" Master splattered. The man with the hose turned the stream of water away from Master. Whoosh! It caught one of the shiny badge men, causing him to land on his bottom. I sat in the stream of water to tell them it was bad. The man with the hose ran away, still holding the hose, so that the squirted at the desks instead of the people. But for some reason, Master didn't thank me for saving him. Once they got the water turned off, Master locked me into the office, while he and the men with the badges and the men with the helmets rounded up the pets. It took a long time. Master, still wet when he came in to get me, he was also tired and grumpy. He took off my collar, and he held it on all the way to the school, across the yard, across the backyard, and into the house, with his shoes going squeak, squeak, squeak. "Cuddles," Master said, "I don't know what got into you. Tomorrow was supposed to be a special day." I hung my head. I hung my tail. Master crouched beside me and looked deep into my eyes. He said, "I bet you have a story to tell." Then he said, "I wish you could tell me." He fluffed my ears. "I still love you," he said. I wagged my tail and licked his face to tell him I loved him too. Being a dog is the best thing in the whole wide world.